Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is JP, the CEO and founder at Foundy. Hello.
Hey, Kristen, lovely to meet you. Thanks so much for having me on the podcast.
Nice to meet you. I first saw your company at SaaS Talk, so I was curious to know what you do. Please tell us what is Foundy.
Brilliant. No, SaaS Stock was a fantastic event, October last year,
Yeah,
gathering of lots of different SaaS founders and investors. And Foundy is an end-to-end digital platform for mergers and acquisitions. We are effectively your modern alternative to a traditional advisory firm, and we've effectively democratized access to exit opportunities and acquisition opportunities to buyers and sellers of small to medium-sized businesses. Um, the business came about from building and selling my last company, learned firsthand how antiquated, opaque, and expensive the exit process is to founders. And truthfully, it was a deep rooted passion that came off the back of that. And now I want to modernize the process on behalf of other founders because I don't want them to go through the pain and stress that process brought with. So we've effectively and hopefully successfully now done so with our platform. We're now on version 2.4, so with about 5,000 users, I think. It's good.
that's awesome. How does the traditional process look like with an M&A firm?
How does the process work?
Yeah, like the traditional way, the old way, let's say, comparing
Yeah,
to
the
yours.
old school way.
Yeah, yeah.
Truthfully, Christian, it hasn't actually updated probably in the last 2 decades with a lot of traditional advisory firms. They
Wow.
make a lot of money, very high margins, and it's probably one of the reasons why they haven't seeked to modernize all too much. But the process with the traditional way is if you're a founder, often you're selling for the first time. So you go onto Google, you look for M&A advisors that may be suitable. But for small to medium sized businesses, anything less than 30 million valuation, you actually probably struggle to find of a relevant advisory firm. Often they're sector agnostic. So they're working with a restaurant chain for one day, and then the next day they're working or attempting to work with a SaaS startup. So consequently, their processes and their buyer network are sector agnostic. Um, then if you do find a suitable advisor, it might be a friend of a friend, or it might be someone you found on Google. You get bound into some 12-month exclusive contracts. It's risky. It's got lots of clauses on it. They set some price during the call. It's not fixed. It's not transparent. There's nothing on their website. And you then get into this relationship selling your business that you've spent many years building alongside an advisor who you're entirely reliant on. You're obliged to hand over control of the process. It's it's just so outdated, and consequently, you've got lawyers charging £400 an hour. You've got a senior associate, partner, junior associate. They're each £300, £400 an hour, and you're there on an hour-long Teams call, and you're like, oh my god, the cost is adding up. And then they're just going back and forth in documents. Then you're going. Then you've got between that you've got to engage with buyers, so finding buyers, how to speak to them, how to negotiate. That in itself is a real science and art. If you get it wrong, it can cost you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds. And then through the process, deal completion, money transfer, I had to physically print out 300 pages for my exit, and I had to
Wow.
sign it alongside a wet signature as well. And then we had to get signatures from our investors, and one of our investors was on a digital detox in the middle of the Alps. So for 2 weeks, we couldn't actually get in contact with him. So that in itself was quite stressful. But eventually the deal got done. That was with my company, but a lot of founders have gone through that. We raised VC backing. The partners at the VC firm and angels that have come aboard, they've gone through similar experiences. And since we've raised investment from senior partners at law firms and investment bankers, all in agreement that this process in the year 2023 is just completely outdated and unsuitable, particularly for tech entrepreneurs. So who've built innovative products that expect a modern solution. So what Foundy has done is gathered all this feedback, consolidated it, and built this end-to-end platform whereby you've heard of Seed Legals, I'm sure. You've heard of ClickUp, you've heard of Zoopla, very similar all-in-one platform, but specifically for M&A. So you create a profile. It takes
Hmm.
just a few minutes as a seller or buyer rather than weeks or months to onboard. You update you fill in information. You can even integrate your metrics as a seller. And so you can pull through your data from Zero, Stripe, Google Analytics. So within minutes, you've got live up-to-date data rather than having to go back to Excel, update, prone to human error, can take weeks. Update, integrate your metrics, fill in information, go live on the marketplace. You've got an instant chat tool as and when you need it. We've got expert sell-side advisory services, which we've sold about 9 in the last month. And that's where we build all the key documents for the founder in their data room, provide commentary, undertake a hyper-specific search for relevant buyers, and then we contact them. That's both within Foundy's user base and outside as well. So we look at indirect competitors, we build a valuation report, an information memorandum. All of these key documents and processes are really important to maximize the founders or their shareholders' exit valuation. And I'd like to think we've probably found product market fit now, according to various metrics, and the process of going through escape velocity, which is quite exciting. But looking forward to the months ahead. It's all coming together relatively nicely.
And what do you say are your top 3 features for the platform?
Sure. So we've got a smart matchmaking process that we work with for buyers. So on the marketplace itself, you can search for, as a buyer, you can search for suitable sellers that align with your search interests. Soon that will have an AI component as well. That will be coming soon. We are in the process of launching a AI chatbot, so it'll effectively be a M&A advisor in your pocket 24/7 at very, very little cost compared to a traditional advisor. I mentioned earlier, £300-400 an hour easily. Who can afford that as a small to medium sized business, right? So you can ask this AI chatbot almost anything you possibly can think of relating to an M&A process. Please provide me tips on how to undertake due diligence on a B2B fintech SaaS. It could be how to respond to these buyer questions. It could be, please may you produce...
Because it's trained with your data.
Do you have to ask that thing? I don't know. Sometimes I reply thanks when I'm speaking to ChatGPT, and then you're producing a letter of intent, heads of tabs, all sorts, and that will be there to democratize access to expert advice, and we can train that, or we are training that with various data sets at the moment, so it's up to date. But AI tools, marketplace search filters, smart matchmaking, our instant chat is good as well between buyers and sellers, and it has allowed us to sell businesses within what the fastest was 25 days. We've done another in 5 weeks. Well, traditionally the exit process takes about 9 months, and the instant chat tool is a key factor there. So rather than having to manage lots and lots of email chains with buyers, sellers, lawyers, accountants, tax people, etc., you've actually got an instant chat tool. It's very similar to Slack or WhatsApp. You can share files. You can
like a digital sales room.
Absolutely, 100%. So it's an integrated data room and things. So and SaaS founders especially quite like that. It's even got read receipts, so it helps to increase response rates and the like. But that seems to work quite well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned pricing was a problem with the traditional way. What is the pricing for Foundy?
Sure. So I respect, Christian. You've got a fantastic network of SaaS founders, and under the same theme, SaaS founders expect modern, transparent pricing when dealing with any service nowadays. Yes. I think wider society as a whole, to be honest, expects transparent pricing laid out in a uniform way on a website, and that's what we've done. In fact, I think we're one of a handful of companies globally in M&A that display pricing. So on our foundy.com/pricing or something, you can see each of the packages, you can see our success fees. It doesn't change from client to client. It's uniform, and we've even tailored it so it's for certain business sizes, so it's really clear. None of this kind of traditional, you get on a call with the founder, they're negotiating higher fees. Like, it's just not the modern way. SaaS founders don't want that. It's super transparent, and also our pricing is 3 times lower than traditional advisory firms. Is 3.2 times lower from a study of 500 advisory firms, and we can achieve that through ironing out inefficiencies. You're not just paying for a big brand name like one of the big 4 consultancy companies and then getting assigned a junior team. You're getting an expert team, technology, traditional advisory plus technology, 3 times lower cost. Yeah.
You also have advisory pricing and also for buyers and sellers, right?
Yeah, there's a subscription for buyers as well for the ability to message sellers. So it's unlimited free browsing, but You can message sellers as and when you want to, but there's a small subscription fee.
Mm. What types of businesses can get listed on Foundy?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're primarily focusing on tech sector as a whole, but specifically software businesses, so SaaS, fintech, apps, agencies are very popular at the moment. We sold one recently in 4 weeks. It took from deal from the initial message from the buyer and then to deal completion. Consultancies link up with agencies quite a bit. Health tech, ed tech, kind of going into more kind of intricate detail. But yes, SaaS, e-commerce, agencies, are kind of the key ones. And within those verticals, you've got AI businesses. They're obviously very popular at the moment.
Of course.
and the like. So, yeah.
I love to hear our favorite success story.
What was the question? Sorry, Christian.
I love to hear our favorite success story. So maybe another one apart from the 25 days one. Your favorite story of a happy customer, happy transaction.
Sure.
Without disclosing the names or
anonymity is obviously key. So, I mean, yeah, there was one. I think their testimonial was actually on our website. So it's one company came to us. It was a B2B SaaS. I think they're doing about 2 mil revenue, and they came to us and they thought they had this. They were so overwhelmed and they thought the process was very daunting, complex, and stressful, and they were so confused of where to go, what to do, and they met with lots of these old school traditional advisory firms, and they sat on these calls, and I think I think the quotation, and he said it was okay to use this in our testimonial. I think he said something like, it was like speaking to my dad or something. That was the quote that he said. It was just kind of a very old school process, he described it as. And they didn't feel like they could understand how to work with a B2B SaaS business. It was quite a forward-thinking tech startup. And then eventually stumbled across us. He's since become a real loyal customer of ours, and has since kind of introduced lots of different new founders we built a kind of great friendship with him. He's been fantastic, and there's lots of different clients like that have come to us. They've either done lots of research into traditional advisory firms, investment banks, met them, interviewed them, gone through the process, and then either come back to us, or they've stumbled across us at the very end, and then seemingly they feel more at home, I think, because we're founder to founder, tech with tech, modern with I
understand. And how competitive is your space? How hard has it been for you to find product market fit, to differentiate?
Yeah, respect. Look, there's a couple of companies in international. So there's a company in the US. There's a company in Australia. They're fantastic. We have a lot of respect for those teams and companies. They've built great businesses, great communities. There's also a company in Japan as well. The founder recently became Japan's youngest billionaire, I think, at 32. He started the company when he was 27, went through the process of selling his fashion business, didn't like the exit process, thought it was inefficient, built a M&A platform using AI to matchmake small business owners with. And now the company is like 1.3 billion 5 years later. So there's a Forbes article just a few weeks ago, which is quite cool, quite exciting. A lot of respect for all that he's achieved. But they're in different markets. So, for example, a competitor in the US, technically speaking, they are our closest competitor, but they're predominantly entirely focused on the US. It's a very large market. Geography plays a key factor because fundamentally, if you're selling a house, for example, here's a helpful analogy. If you're selling a house, you want to have a local platform and local team under your time zone, in your time zone, to support you. You don't want to be working, you may not want to work with a company 8 or 9 hours difference time zone. Yeah. They may not understand local tax, Brexit, buyer networks, customer chains, supply chains, everything like that. So that's the same principle applies why you wouldn't sell your house on Zoopla if you lived in London. You may do, I don't know, but most likely not. Sorry, not Zoopla, Zillow. You'd probably list it on Zoopla or Rightmove because everything's local, right? But look, they're doing incredibly well. There's no one yet in the UK that's offering an end-to-end platform apart from what we've built at Foundy. Um, but and our plan really is to capitalize on that first mover advantage, and still being the only platform end to end here in the UK, and just completely dominate the UK market effectively, and then we'll seek to go more international. But fundamentally, in terms of revenue and growth, we don't really need to facilitate that many transactions to get into seven-figure revenue. Very small number of transactions, in fact. Yet there are hundreds of thousands of businesses that we've identified that we could effectively sell, but we only need to sell,
And what would be the next?
To get some. Pardon me, sorry.
What would be the next territory? Probably Europe, right?
Yeah, Europe. There's some great markets in Europe. We've got a competitor as well in Europe. We've got a lot of respect for those guys. But the UK conveniently is the third largest market in globally for M&A. 144 billion pounds of transaction value processed in 2022. 2022 was a bit of a dip. 2021 was like 300 billion. So there's a lot of value in this space. I mean, fundamentally, SaaS founders listening to this, you spent several years, possibly close to a decade, building a business. Heart, sweat, blood, tears, all of it's got into it, and consequently, you want a modern, transparent process, and that's what we've hoped to build compared to other competitors, indirect competitors. So, yeah.
And have you raised any funding for Foundy?
Yeah.
Okay. How much have you raised?
We raised 1.25 million when we were pre-product, and that was well over a year ago now. And most recently, we had quite a bit of investment come in. Now that revenue growth, user traction is up and running, we're on version 2.4 of the products. Like, it works. We're no longer a scrappy MVP, which is quite nice. This week, we received investment from a senior partner from an M&A law firm. I think quite a high-profile investment banker is going to come on board with quite a large angel check as well. It only took a 30-minute call, I think, for which is quite nice. But
that's awesome.
But given that they are veterans in the space, they know the M&A space for the last 2 decades, each of them. For them to come on board as investors, that was really nice. That felt nice, because it's kind of an indication that they agree that the process needs modernizing, and it's their way of coming on board.
Exactly.
Even a traditional advisory firm has sent us an inbound message saying, "Are we open for investment?" So they can come and join, which is nice. So it'd be great to collaborate with them and work with them for their incredible experience. So, yeah.
Super happy for you. How did you solve the marketplace problem of finding buyers and sellers at the same time? Yeah, chicken and egg.
Yes. There's an incredible there's a gentleman named Samir who's very familiar with the network effects. In fact, he lectures on the principle, and I've learned so much from his videos and content. Network effects, chicken and egg problem, marketplace. I mean, there's pitfalls and upsides. I think first start by saying that I like, now that we're here and it's taking this long to kind of get up to speed and get that kind of critical point of mass, I've now learned that there's probably quite a high barrier to entry, actually. This is not a startup you can just code and get going, because you need buyers and sellers, high quality buyers and sellers coming to the platform. That takes a lot of investment, growth, and go-to-market strategy and the like, which we're finally now there, and we're growing incredibly quickly, both on the buyers and sell side. We get 8 buyers signing up for every 1 seller, and then we only approve one out of 4 seller registrations. So we're relatively selective on which companies. We ideally want the companies to be profitable, growing, not essential by any means, not essential, but ideally. And then there's various other kind of minimum thresholds which we're gradually raising. So that's helped a lot. If you bring in the supply, you're naturally going to get in the buy side demand. There's record highs levels of dry powder at the moment amongst buyers. there's a lot of demand. It's just a case of getting that supply to the platform. So on the buy side, there's a lot of demand, especially with small businesses. We have we've got 5,000 buyers now, but within that, we've got hundreds of big buyers, corporate development teams, private equity companies, VCs even, looking to buy or sell portfolio companies. So FTSE 100 and NASDAQ companies that are using our platform. You may even be surprised that they're kind of looking at the smaller end, but it's really interesting to see. And because we're streamlining the process, making it really efficient to buy a business, it means that in terms of opportunity cost, when a corporate development team is determining, do we invest our next 6 weeks of time buying this business that's doing 5-10 mil revenue or more, that's kind of more of a financial acquisition, or do we go for this smaller business, it's doing sub 1 million revenue, but it's got an innovative product, an amazing team that they will acquire, bring on board. So that's more strategic. And yes. Because acquisitions can take place really quickly now through our platform and technology, it means that it's opened up the possibility for these much larger firms to spend potentially equal amounts of time buying a big business, probably needing a lot more due diligence compared to a smaller team technology, but they've got products. So it's been really interesting having that overview over the last few months actually on the platform. But truthfully, we've got it over in the process of just streamlining the actual M&A deal cycle from end to end. We've focused on key go-to-market strategies, growth channels, partnerships, referrals. We're scaling at the moment. So we're turning every user into their own, giving them their own unique affiliate link so they can spread the word. That will help us to reduce customer acquisition costs, marketing spend, etc. So it's kind of inward growth in that regard. And I think we found that critical mass now, because conversations are happening, deals are taking place, and everyone then spreads the word, and every additional user adds value to the next one. Things. So, yeah.
And what did you say was your biggest challenge since starting the company?
Ironically, probably that one, yeah. Getting the users to the platform.
Yeah.
And speaking is one, and they're making sure that they're the right fit, because buyers have quite specific search interests, but we're beginning to learn about that, and now we can onboard users that match up. And it's got to the point now where these buyers are coming back to the platform regularly, like each and every month, like looking at the latest listings. They're messaging us being like, we're looking for this, looking for that. Even investment banks, big investment banks, been around for decades, coming to us using our platform on behalf of their sell-side clients or buy-side clients, looking for opportunities. Because if they can streamline their process, rather than 9 months, they're buying and selling businesses for their clients within weeks or months. It's just, they make more money. We increase revenue. Everyone wins. Founder wins, buyer wins. So it's good.
I love to hear your vision.
Was biggest challenge. Hiring was also very complex. To be open and truthful with you, hiring is a complex art by all means. Engineers, especially, I think.
Okay, I love to hear your vision for the future of Foundy.
Sure. So, truthfully, Foundy has the market opportunity, the foundations, team and tech, that it could well be a unicorn. I would love, that would be an all-time dream. And I think reading that article from the gentleman in Japan that had built his startup, he didn't necessarily have an M&A background, but he had a passion for modernizing the exit process for small and medium-sized businesses. And he went and built a company. He democratized access, made many people millionaires with his platform, selling their businesses. And now he himself is a billionaire once his company went public just 12 months ago, actually. And their share price grew by over 300%.
Wow.
So, it'd be an all-time dream. But beyond that, I couldn't find anything more fulfilling. They're working with founders, they've built their companies, you hear their passion when they talk about their businesses, and now they're in the process of selling it, and then you complete the deal, and just to see kind of the smiles on their faces and the impact that has. Some talk about going on a worldwide trip with their partner, or paying off their mortgage, or putting their kids through school and all sorts. Like it's really, truthfully, very fulfilling. That for me is it's kind of an ongoing process, but that's a vision, and at scale, I think that would be the ultimate sense of personal achievement. And I think for the team as well, the team have kind of share that same passion as I. So build out a fantastic team, build on all that we've got a great team thus far, support hundreds and hundreds of founders over the coming years to sell their companies. But we're also wanting to build a big community. I think that's one of the most valuable aspects of building any SaaS company. In fact, the gentleman that started SaaS Stock, Alex, has got a membership, which looks really interesting. I think it's for B2B SaaS founders going to 10 million revenue. And it's a great way for everyone to... You're probably familiar with it? Yeah? You may be part of it?
Yeah, our CEO is part of it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's brilliant. And I'm exploring joining at the moment, but
you should.
We would love to build a community group. And this summer we're hosting events. Christian, please do come if you're in the area. And anyone listening, Foundy's going to host some events in our new office at Vauxhall. There's a rooftop with a bar. We're going to host an event. We're going to have a Slack group. We may even anonymize the names, because we found that actually that could work really well. We want to give a space for founders because it's a very lonely journey, to be truthful. It really, really is. And to give a safe space for founders to speak to one another, open up, help one another, for me, that's incredibly valuable. And if Foundy can do that at scale through events, webinars, valuable educational content, Slack group, I think it will be really, really compelling. So we're not just at the end of the supply chain, an M&A platform. We want to be there during the process of building the company, helping people, sharing stories, working with one another, collaborating, democratizing access, including people. A lot of people feel a bit left out, and I think that's what we really want to get to, is just it will help aspiring founders to get into entrepreneurship in the first place. So all the way back to the grassroots. I think we can build a platform to do that. So that's kind of a grand vision. Build a big business. We'll hopefully be net profitable quite soon. Actually, our business model allows us to be quite profitable with high margins. Give back those cost savings to the founders with our low pricing, and continue to democratize access to exits.
Thank you so much for sharing. I have one last question for you. What's your favorite SaaS product that you use daily?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's some platforms and tools I love. Might even have a list somewhere, actually. I mean, there's loads, and obviously there's a huge demand with AI tools at the moment. Some of these I've heard good things about. Some of them I use personally, but there's Trumpet's fantastic, started by Nick Telson, serial entrepreneur, great for sales engagement. It's basically the modernizing version of PDFs. No one wants to open a PDF, they want a digital pod. That's what recommend them. We use them a lot, actually, for sales, investment stuff.
Okay.
I've heard good things about Zelt. Of course, on the bigger end, Slack, we use every single day. Lavender AI, exploring using their sales tool at the moment for modernizing email and sales engagement. Likewise, Lemlist, I've heard is very good. We were using that for a bit. If you're looking to start or build a website from an early stage, definitely recommend Bubble. I've heard very good things about that. Avoid building anything from custom too early. I think particularly with MVPs, work with Bubble. And then, there's lots of AI tools and things out there as well. Equitas for hiring. If you want to modernize and streamline that process of hiring, they're very good. Talent Heroes as well. Again, kind of very modern, transparent. I kind of have this recurring theme with sorry if you pardon the pun. If you working with companies that share this kind of willingness to be open, transparent, modern. Like, I love any company that you can log into a portal and use their tools and network all within like a self-serve style, but then you've got expert support as and when. That for me is like the modern way of any traditional advisory or traditional model. So Core.co is also very good, very, very good actually for hiring tech and engineers and the like. Again, similar story. You log in, you can use their platform, get help if you need it. The list goes on. But yeah, lots of exciting tools out there, B2B SaaS, amazing AI tools coming out as well. I'm looking forward to many of these.
Is there anything else that you want to mention on today's podcast?
Yeah, well, thank you for the opportunity, first of all, Christian. I really appreciate it. I acknowledge and respect that you've built a wonderful network of SaaS leaders, and you yourself are a thought leader in the space. I would, if you are still watching and you're potentially exploring an acquisition or exit, whether that's in the short or longer term, I would definitely recommend getting ready early. That's all I'll say, is that getting ready early is really key. And it could be the difference between hundreds of thousands or millions in eventual exit valuation. Going through M&A is a complex science by all means. From end to end, there's so many different stages to the journey. So getting preparation, being prepared, data room, professional documents, making sure that you've got a buyer network, relationships in play. They may be your competitors, but worth building a relationship with them. And you'll be surprised if you build a good business, especially anything above $1 million revenue. The doors open up so much. You've got private equity firms now coming in kind of slightly smaller level. Like they'll buy a business with around $1 million plus revenue, and try and if you can, aim for that 5-to-1 ratio, because a lot of buyers often look for that, at least $1 million revenue, 200k profit. That's a nice sweet spot. And then anything above that, you're truthfully, the amount of buyers that just opens up as soon as you get to that kind of 5-to-1 and $1 million plus revenue, and ideally recurring, of course, it's huge. Let me know if you would like any help. Feel free to get in touch via LinkedIn or email joe@foundy.com. And I'll be delighted to help you along your exit process, whether you're doing so soon or later, next year or something. But cool, thanks.
Thank you for joining. You did great.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Christian. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.